Hello, hello. Welcome to lesson 4-2, writing equations in slope-intercept form. Okay, go ahead and make sure you have your 4-2 notes. If you don't, just use a regular piece of paper. The expectation when I come back is that I'm going to be able to see your notes in addition to all the practice problems worked out on a separate piece of paper. Okay, so today this is the targeted teak. Okay, what's important here? Linear equations in two variables. And what are we doing with them? We're going to write linear equations. We're going to have multiple forms. And today what we're really going to focus on is given 1 point and the slope. And maybe even if we're given 2 points. Okay? So I would say that our learning objective today, this is what I want you to write down under learning objective. We will write linear equations given 1 point and the slope or given 2 points. Here we go. At any point, if you need to pause this so that you can stop it and write as slow or as fast as you want to, that's fine, okay? So here are our vocabulary words. Constraint, a condition of a problem that the solution must satisfy, okay? So a constraint might be we need to pass through these 2 points, 1, 3, and 2, 5. Okay? That might be an example of a constraint, something, a condition that must be satisfied. Okay, linear extrapolation, the use of a linear equation to predict values that are outside the range of data. So, for example, let's see that, let's say, it says the use of linear equation, but I mean, we could even look at it in a table. Okay. If I put 1, 2, 2, 4, 6, 12, 10, 20, okay, even if I don't see it there, what do you think 100 would be? If you guess that we're just doubling it every time, good. Okay? Using what we can see, we can make decisions about what we can't. Okay? Linear extrapolation. But we're going to be doing that with a linear equation. We're going to be predicting values. Okay, example number 1. We want to write an equation of a line that passes through this point with a slope of 1/2. Okay, you have 3 blocks. So, okay. All right, first one. What is the value of m? Well, another way of saying m is what? Remember, y equals mx plus b. What does m mean in that situation? He said slope. Very good. Ladies and gentlemen, they tell us that we have a slope of 1/2. Good. B. B refers to the y-intercept. Okay? So now in order to figure this in, we have to plug in what we know and solve for what we don't, because they don't actually give that to us directly, right? Okay. So I'm going to label this. I've got x and I have y. Okay? And I'm going to save this for our answer right here. I've got y equals mx plus b. Let's put in what we know and solve for what we don't. Okay? Our y value, I go up here, and y is, that's right, -3. Okay? What's happening between m and x? They are multiplying. Very good. And of course, we're solving for b. That's the only one we don't know. So m, we said, was 1/2, right? I'm going to plug in 1/2. And x is 2. Okay? And now we solve for b. So the first step when solving for a variable is that we simplify. Get rid of all of our parentheses and like terms. So I'm going to look at this. What is 1/2 of 2? 1. Very good. Now I want all of my constants on the same side. So I'm going to subtract 1, subtract 1. Very good. And I end up with b is equal to -3 minus 1, which is the same as -4. And I'm going to put that final answer right there. Okay, now I know what m is, and now I know what b is. Whenever we're writing an equation, the only two variables that I want to leave in there is x and y. So we're going to plug it in. We got y equals mx plus b. So the ones that I want to replace are m and b. And I know those. B's this, m is that. So we're just going to plug it in. Okay? And I end up with y is equal to 1/2 x minus 4. If you ever have any questions, just be sure to jot them down and ask me when I return. Okay? Ladies and gentlemen, this is our final answer. Questions? Okay. All right. So here is an example I want you to go ahead and do on your paper. Okay? Hit pause. And when you're ready, come back. So go ahead and hit pause right now. I know I will. Okay. Here we are. Welcome back. Ladies and gentlemen, the answer is D. Okay? So originally, step 1 is figure out what your slope is, what m is. Well, they actually tell you. So you just write that in. M is equal to -3. And then the next thing we have to figure out is what is b, the y-intercept. And so in order to get that, we plug in what we know. We start off with this. And we plug in what we know. We go ahead and label this x and y, plug in everything, and then we solve for b. And we end up with 7. And then you just plug it in. All right, example number 2. Now that's really nice when they give us the slope, but they don't always give us the slope, okay? So this is how we calculate the slope, okay? We go ahead and create my 3 boxes again. Okay. Okay. So in order to calculate m, our slope, we need to use our formula for slope, the change in y over the change in x. How do I calculate my change in y? y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, we label it x, y, x, y, x1, y1, x2, y2. And we plug it in. That's negative 8 minus, that's right, negative 4. And put that over negative 2 minus negative 3. Now you could simplify this, do this by hand, whatnot. You could have stacked them. Or you can put in your calculator the way it is. Just depends on what you like. Let me go ahead and pull up my calculator. Okay, so to put a fraction in, alpha, y equals, enter. Right? You just type it in exactly the way you see it. Negative 8 minus negative 4. Go down. Negative 2 minus negative 3. And you go to the right. Always go to the right to get out of a fraction. Make sure that it looks exactly like what you had set up in your problem. And we end up with negative 4. Okay, let me go back. And m is negative 4. Okay. Next, what we solve for is b. What's b? Okay. So b is the y-intercept. We're going to plug in what we know and solve for what we don't. You could pick either point. I would pick the one with the easiest numbers, ones that don't have negatives. Both of these appear to have negatives, so it really doesn't matter. Let's just pick the first one, negative 3, negative 4. Okay, I'm going to call that x and y. Okay, and we know that m is negative 4, so y is equal to mx plus b. Plug in negative 4 equals negative 4. And do you see where I'm getting these from? See, we have y, negative 4. That's why I plugged in a negative 4. I got m is equal to negative 4. That's why I put that there, right? And I'm going to multiply that times x. X is negative 3 plus b. Okay? So here we go. Let's go ahead and clean this up just a little bit. We've got negative 4 equals a negative times a negative is a positive, and we have positive 12 plus b. Okay, we want to get b all by itself. So we subtract 12, and we end up with, we have two negatives, same sign, sum, negative 16 equals b. I'm going to put negative 16 right here. Okay. So now we're going to just plug everything in. Y equals mx plus b. The only two variables that stay is y and x. So y equals negative 4, x minus 16. And we're done. Okay. Here we go. Example 2b. This is on the back side of your notes. Again, we're given 2 points. Okay, so we want to solve for m. It's the same process. We got m, we got b, we plug it in. So m is our slope. We don't know what it is. We're going to go ahead and plug it in, okay? We're going to figure it out. So the equation is the change in y over the change in x. Yes? And we can plug that in. We can just label these x1, y1, x2, y2. Okay? Let's go ahead. y2 minus y1. x2 minus x1. This is a really good formula to memorize, right? We're going to go ahead and fill that in. 4 minus negative 2. You know, if something's a negative, don't forget to include that negative with the 2, okay? Otherwise, it throws your whole answer off. And then we end up with 3 minus 6. Okay. And ladies and gentlemen, we put that into our calculator. Okay. Alpha y equals, enter, 4 minus negative 2. Down. 3 minus 6. Okay. Go to the right. Enter. We end up with a slope of negative 2. Okay. Also, just one more way, if you're pretty good with adding and subtracting, I personally recommend this method where you stack the numbers. You got X, you got Y. And if you are pretty good at saying, yeah, I'm going up by 6, and here I'm going down by 3, that's the change in Y over the change in X, 6 over negative 3, which reduces down to negative 2. Okay? So if you're pretty good with being able to add and subtract, I definitely recommend that. It's a lot easier. Okay. If you're not, there's no shame. Stick with the equation, plug it in. Okay, B. So in order to calculate B, we plug what we know in and solve for what we don't. I'm going to pick a point. And, oh, I want to make sure I remember that M is equal to negative 2. Got it. And I'm going to pick a point that's easy. I like 3, 4 since it doesn't have any negatives. And I'm going to put X and Y. Okay? So, Y equals MX plus B. Let's plug in what we know. 4 equals negative 2 times 3 plus B. Okay? And if at any point you're like, wait, feel free to pause and take a look and see if you can understand what I did. Okay, again, we're just plugging in numbers. 4 equals negative 6 plus B. To solve for B, we want all the constants to the other side. Plus 6 plus 6. Therefore, B is equal to 4 plus 6, which is 10. Okay. Last but not least, let's just plug everything in. Y equals mx plus b. What are the two variables that we want to leave behind? Y and x. So we're going to plug in everything else. Y is equal to negative 2. Remember? Right there. Okay, x. And then we got 10. Is that positive or negative? Positive 10. And we're done. Easiest day ever, yes? Yay. Okay. See if we got a practice problem for you. We sure do. So this is the part where I want you to go ahead and work this out. Hit pause and come back for the answer. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, the answer is B. The first thing I did is I solved for M. Okay. So right here is where I solved for M. Labeled my points, plugged it in. Then once I know what my slope is, I take one point and I solve for B. And the point that I chose was 2, 6. Now, another way, yet another way you could do this and check your work is in your calculator. Keep in mind, they're not always going to ask you for the answer. They may want to know about the process. So how do you enter a table into your calculator? If you said stat, good. Let's see if it'll work for me. Oh, no. Let's do this. Okay. So stat, enter. And because you know in your calculator folder, you know where to go, we're going to go ahead and enter that table. That was negative 1, 2, go to the right, 3, 6. Okay, now that I have my table in here, what do I hit? And the answer's not enter. It's stat, go to the right to calc, 4, and enter until I get to calculate. And ladies and gentlemen, I get y equals 1x plus 4, exactly what our answer is. Y equals 1x plus 4. Because we all know that there's a ninja 1 right in front of that x, right? Okay. We have another example. Go ahead and hit pause. Okay, welcome back. So I did the work of solving for m and solving for b. And if you got what I got, we're looking at m, the slope is located in front of the x. So the answer's got to be D. Okay. All right, real world example number 3. During 1 year, Mackay, his cost for self-serve regular gasoline was $3.20 on the 1st of June and $3.42 on the 1st of July. Write a linear equation to predict Mackay's cost of gasoline the first of any month during the year, using 1 to represent January. Okay. So, let's see. I think the first thing when we read it, we always want to say what's important. And I'm looking at $3.20 for the 1st of June. That's important. And $3.42 on the 1st of July, right? Okay. So what we're going to do is let's go ahead and let's create some points here, or kind of a table. Okay. The first one we can do is we want to write a linear equation to predict the cost of gasoline for the first of any month. Okay. So here we have our number of months, right? And if January is the first month, so I'm going to put month here. Okay. Then what is June going to be? What month? What number month? If January is number 1, what is the number for June? 6, right? And then for July, it's 7, right? Now we want to come up with our cost for gas. Okay. And in June, it was $3.20. And in July, $3.42, right? Okay. Now, you can, of course, plug it into your equation. You could plug it into the calculator, or you could just look at how much is increasing by, right? Look at this. How much is that increasing by? 22 cents increasing, right? And this is increasing by 1. Okay, we're going to assume this is x and this is y. So which one goes up on top? Good. It's always the change in y over the change in x. So we're going to end up with 0.22 over 1. Okay, which is the same as 0.22. And this is our m. Okay, so same concept. Here is our m. That's that first box. Let me go ahead and put a box around that. That's the box where we solve for m. And then in your notes, the next box is solving for b. So solving for b just means let's plug in what we know and solve for what we don't. So I can pick a point. Well, this is a point, right? That's a point. I can say x is equal to 6 there. Y is equal to $3.20. And my m is 0.22. Let's plug in y equals mx plus b. Of course, b is what we're actually solving for, right? That's our special one. Okay, we've got $3.20 equals 0.22 times 6 plus b. I'm going to make my box a little bigger. Okay, and we're going to clean it up. We can put that in our calculator. I'm going to put it in mine. 0.22 times 6, and I get 132. So I'm going to go back here. That's $1.32 plus B. And I got $3.20 over here. So now to get B all by itself, we subtract $1.32, $1.32. And we end up with B equals, I'm going to put that in my calculator, 320 minus $1.32. 320 minus $1.32. And I get $1.88. Now I have everything I need to write my equation, right? Because I got M and I got B. Now, normally we like fractions, but when it deals with money, you know, it's all right, decimals, because it makes sense. You know, you got like $1.88, right? So we're just going to plug stuff in. Y equals 0.22 x plus $1.88. Now, let me make sure that I actually answer the question. Write a linear equation. Yep, we did. Got it. And there we are. Yeah. So here's a little bonus question. The y-intercept. Y-intercept. What is equal to 0 at the y-intercept? If you said x, very good. Now keep in mind, in this one, x refers to the month, right? What month is it when x is equal to 0? It's December of the previous year. Right? If January is the first month, then it's the December right before that. And in December, gas was costing $1.88. And every single month, it goes up 22 cents. Okay? All right. So here we have a problem. Go ahead and pause it, solve it, do your work, okay, and check it with me. Okay, so how'd you do? I went ahead and started off for you. I made a table. I think one of the things that's really important is that you have to understand that X represents the years since 2005. And in 2005, how many years has it been since 2005? Well, 0. And in 2008, it's been 3 years since it was 2005. Do you see that? Do you see how we build that X value? Okay. So here we put the associated costs with the book. I just went ahead and set up my equation with y2 minus y1 and x2 minus x1. And I ended up with a slope of 3.5. So that eliminates C and D, right? Now it's a matter of which one is it, A or B? Well, the number at the end is the y-intercept, right? And at the y-intercept, what is equal to 0? Remember, it's the opposite. X. X is equal to 0. So we go ahead, we look at our table, and we find where x is 0. Boom. And we go all the way across, and ladies and gentlemen, our y-intercept should be this one. So the answer's got to be A. And if you plugged it in, you would get 57.65. Okay? All right. So this one is in your notes, example 4. Again, we're talking about Mackay. He uses 25 gallons of gasoline per month. He budgeted $100 for gasoline in October. Use the prediction equation in example 3, okay, to determine if Mackay will have to add to his budget. Well, I don't remember example 3, so I'm going to have to flip back. Okay, our final equation ended up being y equals 0.22x plus $1.88. Okay. So I'm going to bring that over here. And really in your notes, the M, the B, none of that really applies. So just write all over that, okay? We're going to write y equals 0.22x plus $1.88. Now remember, x referred to what? X was the number of months. Since, was the number of months, basically. Number of month that it was, number of month. And so let me explain, like January was 1, February's 2, that type of thing, right? So it's the number of the month. That's probably the best way to say it. Number of the month. Okay, and then Y is just the cost, right? The cost of gasoline. It's good to like identify what the variables mean, just to refresh your memory in that month. So we have 25 gallons of gasoline per month. Great. Okay. He budgeted $100 in October. Use the prediction equation example 3 to determine if Mackay will have to add to his budget. So, do we have X or Y here? Because we got two things that I think are important. We've got 25 gallons and we got $100 for October. Okay, that's important. So, do you think you know what X is? Do you think you know what Y is? Well, I think that if you said X has got to be 10 for October, that's really good. Okay, October's the 10th month. Let's see. So if I plug in 10, it should be, well, let's see what we get. We get y equals 0.22 times 10 plus 1.88. And you could put it in your calculator, but I happen to know that when you multiply by 10, you're just scooting the decimal over. So y equals 2.2 plus 1.88. And that equals, do it in my head, let's go with like $4.08. Okay, you could use your calculator. But $4.08 is what I'm getting. Now, that's for the cost of gasoline. How much gasoline was that? That was a gallon, right? Cost of gasoline per gallon. Now, what they want is they want to know if $100 is enough for 25 gallons, right? So, if I have $4 per gallon, okay, I need to figure out, I'm going to multiply that times 25 gallons, right? And I end up with, I'm going to go to my calculator so I don't mess up, 4.08 times 25. And $102. So when they say, is $100 enough? No, he was a little bit short, right? And make sure we answer the question fully. Example, will he have enough? Determine if he will have to add to his budget. Absolutely. He will have to add $2 to his budget he will have to add of $100 in order to purchase in order to purchase 25 gallons. Notice that my answer uses units and it's written in context with the problem. Okay. Okay, one more example for you. I think we're getting close to the end. Woohoo. Go ahead and pause it. Okay, so you have your answer already, right? Let's see. We have plugged this in. I put it in my calculator. I got $71.65. Now that is the cost of a textbook. That's one book. How many books? 5 is what she's replacing. So we're just going to multiply the cost of one book times 5. And you end up with B. Okay? All right. Again, if there's any questions, feel free to bring them to my attention tomorrow. I hope this was pretty easy for you. Be good for the sub. I expect for you that you will do your assignment as asked. And I have a great day. All right. Talk to you later. Bye.